afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda here of Strike, Defender of the Fatherland. Off here to an exciting 1 vs 1 on Feynman will approach. Yes, that's the name. Fighting in these, we got Spander fighting for the Soviet Union, for the glory of Stalin and socialism, for the 86th Rifle Division versus in the West. We got Findeed fighting for Germany, Deutschland, and the Kampfgruppe Wolf. We got Doctor here for Mechanized Assault, German Mechanized, and Elite Troops with bulletins for Panzerfaust, Panzergrenadiers, and Mines versus Spander with Lend-Lease, Partisans, and Mechanized Support, and all three bulletins for Partisans. I kind of guess that might give away what he's playing. Of course, he's playing a bit of a con game here. Going to throw off Findeed with a bit of mind games. But constantly up, then he's going straight for the center in case perhaps, Findeed rushing for there. But so far, Findeed seems to be going straight for the fuel point here, actually. Which is not an entirely bad idea considering Feynmanville. I mean, usually the point that is, a bit further away from you is actually the one that's easier to defend from the different players. For example, here, usually you can use the building here to much more better defend it. Points are also more easily, defend it from that angle compared to if you go for here. It's actually easier for the opponent to cut and harass. Also around here, similarly, if you go for here, actually here it's slightly different because the point is there, much closer to the center. It's not quite so straightforward, but still in theory, again, you get the house here, you can better defend the fuel point and also guard the area. But yeah. Meanwhile, though, Findeed has actually wiring off most approaches. And Knight's not there. Apparently, Ludwig there got a bit lazy. Either way, he's going straight for the fuel point here. Findeed grabbing territory. We got an early support in company with after the conscripts. Got a maximum. We got a mortar on the way. This is going for a mix of support weapons there. Going up here, we'll probably seeing a bit more barbed wire, I guess, to make the fuel point a bit harder to take as well. Two grenadiers, of course, there for Findeed. Maximum down there.
Mortar team reports ready for combat.
And setting up there. So they're rather splitting up the map in a less than usual fashion. And there we go. Mortar out here for Spander. Third grenadier squad on the way there for Findeed. Grenadiers moving on a bit too fast here, but perhaps realize he wants to get to the house here before the rations to shoot them out there. But why going up with this again, making it hard for him to move about? It's not going to make it impossible. Obviously, he can vault, but then we have to retreat. It means he's going to have to take a much longer route. There we go, so mortar opening up here. Pioneers moving up here, Conscripts all taking losses. Pioneers flanking in there with MP40, saying the Conscripts running at the same time, pushing for the with the Grenadier squad. Third arrives. And we got another maximum there for Spander, so it's going for pretty heavy support weapon style play there. Max remains here, barbed wire here to make it hard to also rush the fuel point that way. Both sides making use of barbed wire. Going for the cuff point there, and again, a bit tricky to sort of actually hold.
Heavy machine gun team, we need to reestablish our
and actually easier for the attacker to defend than the, one closest to it due to the way the wall set up there comparatively. There's not really kind of the same thing here. They're both close to the base, but the overall setup is notably different, in particular since that one's also close to the victory point and some other bits, plus a house much more easily sort of covering that one. So there are some vital differences there, actually. But constantly coming far from the Grenadiers. Grabbing territory here, maximum creeping northwards there under Spander's command. And before to getting out of the house as the roof is quickly collapsing in. And attacking from the north, flanking the conscripts there. Yuri and Sergei quickly drop down. And bunker up there for Findeed. In the east there we go, maximum sets up, their pioneers moving about. Just trying to avoid here. We'll probably end up retreating. Findeed of course could try and take up. And suppressed and pinned in a matter of seconds. Mortar pushed away there, almost, in fact, got the entire mortar crew. Good work there. So he has taken up, he's yet to utilise it, though of course that'll probably soon happen. Maximum continuing northwards here, while Findeed just keeps up the pressure around the cut-off point, that way trying to harass and sort of deny Spander resources. Mine going down there, good spot, right at the choke point there. Getting the point there as well. Like to make a nice company is small problems from go up there. Mortify continuing down there against the Germans. Conscript taking losses. No heavy cover here again. Heavy cover there. Overall here, Findeed can maintain that spot. He can overall apply a lot of pressure. There's a Spander and really just deny him a lot of resources. You just bleed him out slowly as well if Spander just then continues to attack into that. MG42 setting up there. Catching the Maxim first. Suppressing it. Getting steady. There he goes, suppressing the MG42 in return. So they're both suppressed now. Grenadiers falling back, Grenadiers moving out. Like to make us go out there for Findeed. And we've got parts of doctrine here for Spander. Quickly appearing here behind the MG42 team. Quick seeing that running here. And of course signalling to Findeed that is indeed partisans that Spander has gone for. So that means you have to be a lot more careful around the houses, since they could very quickly become very much more alive since partisans were kicking out the doors there. Mortars looking hit their veterans who won 4 kills already. That's going to be a bit of bad news there. 2 of them begins popping flares as well. Large Grenadier force with Pioneer Spot moving in there. Slight engagement here. And there you go, Grenadiers already losing up. Hits the conscripts up close. The presence of the mortar does not make the engagement any easier. And there you go, parts into the fort here. Quick grenade there. Didn't quite land though, still did a bit of damage. It's sort of they push the Grenadiers a bit further close to the partisans and the 1541s. But they're quickly getting gunned down. There we go, retreating, and we got another partisan squad here appearing. Quickly appearing behind the Grenadiers and the Pioneers, causing a full retreat. They're having gunned down Jürgen and Heinz. So right now Spander's quickly in control of the map here over Findeed, though Findeed is going for some Panzer Grenadiers, which would certainly add him a bit more firepower there versus the Russians, but it seems like his plenty of northeastern domination have been thwarted by Spander's efforts, including his partisans. And again, he's already brought up 2 partisan squads, a bit expensive, but if you utilize them properly, they can do a lot of damage.
Panzer Grenadiers standing by.
And there you go, Panzer Grenadier. Of course, Spander is all aware of what's going on here from Findeed from now on, thanks to radio intercept, alerting him to anything going on, for the most part. Plus, if you want, so you can also then later on use the spy network, which is also quite a handy ability. Pretty much lets you see everything of your opponent on the mini-map, which is quite handy. Mortar firing down there, the partisans flanking behind the Grenadiers. Panzer Grenadiers moving in, they might be able to catch those partisans. It's going to have to be the Panzer Grenadier. The Grenadiers simply can't stop them in time. But right now, Findeed here is on the back foot against Spander's rather swift turnabout counter-attack here. Partisans, there you go, push back, there you go. Panzer Grenadier versus partisans, assault rifles, PPH-41s. And there you go, partisans up close, but they're quickly getting gunned down here by the Panzer Grenadiers there. Defend the motherland is ultimately for naught against the might of the Reich. Bit of movement here towards the west, going to draw away some resource help, so that we still got the Maxim here defending the fuel point. That's going to require further resources for Findeed to clear out, though he's getting a mortar of his own. Bit of a chilly, probably to try and counter the enemy mortar, but also deal with any Maxims that might be ensconced within small houses. And of course, as always, Spander is quite aware of what Findeed is doing. No sign of tech up here for Spander, though. He's got the resources to go for a tank battalion command. He could probably also very quickly then go for a T-70 to further pressure and harass Findeed, but so far, no sign of that. And we got S-Mines here around the cutoff point, right here at the entrance actually. Nice little move there, a bit nasty, but again, would make it harder here for Spander to get back the cutoff point. And could actually cause a few wipes there. Max moving up to deal with the Grenadiers, quickly double back there into the house. Partisans moving ahead. North Panzer is quickly moving ahead, mortar firing down all over the place. House being hit and other bits, and there you go. 3rd partisan squad here we go, dealing with the Grenadiers as soon as they're flushed out. Pops into the house. We could see a wipe, we've all seen a wipe here. Findeed, wasn't paying attention. The partisans just murdered them out in the bloody open. Up north, Panzer has made good progress here, but the Panzer is quickly cutting them down there with their Sturmgewehrs, leaving numerous conscripts dead or wishing they were dead. Maxim pushes forward here, but already low in health. Could get wiped if he's not careful. Mortars have been silenced by German mortar fire by the looks of it. No, might have been a rough grenade. Popping out there in the middle of the open did not help. And there you go, Panzer's now left to man the mortars to hold the line. Maxim repulsing a Grenadier assault there down south. Good work. So we got 3 partisan squads now for Spander. In fact, he's got more partisans there. He's got regular infantry. And there you go, tank battalion command, and a swift T-70 there for Spander. Findeed, though, is already getting a Pack 40. Probably at this point expecting a T-70. So that certainly makes sense. At the same time, though, we also taking up here for Findeed, so it's not just hanging about there. And making progress in the north once more. There you go, Panzer up there, Kanone 40. Partisans down to fire by Grenadiers. Mortar moving down here. Looks like you're going to try and deal with this. And we got a doctor in there for Findeed. It is elite troops. Playing out the best of the camp of his men and equipment. OD is going to try and mortar here, though of course already the Maximum's moved, so that's going to be a bit wasted.
Light tank ready for orders.
And there we go, the light tank has arrived there for Spander. Of course he knows this is pack 40, so he'll probably be careful. There you go. And at the same time, the Partisans flanking the mortar. So Findeed's little attack here did not work out. We do see if Manchester clip that all out. Good work there by Spander. And at the same time, Partisans have been engaged by the T-70. Pack 40 nowhere need to be seen. In fact, it's preparing for an assault here. So this gun is that even the ND-42 is being run off here. The entire east being unraveled once more by the tiny tank of terror. Gonna do something southwards, back at base, reinforcement going on. Doesn't quite have the resources. Well, it has the resources for the support armor corps. He just can't get anything out of it as of yet. Spander once more on the counter-offensive against his fascist foe. Clearing up barbed wire as well. Good work. Gonna do sneak about there again. The T-70 can quickly deal with these harassers. Indeed, will need to make a more spirited attack in one direction. He can also get a stormtroopers in, sort of add some firepower that way. Panzer Grenadier getting Panzer Strikes. He's really focused on getting down that T-70. Bringing up the Panzer Strikes should help a bit with that. There you go, Grenadiers about to get wiped, caught in a bad position. I mean, they're Panzer fast. The problem is still the retreat power protection right past the T-70. And there's a maximum support. It's right there. Those are Grenadiers got down. Indeed, here taking some quite severe casualties. Maximum in the middle house as well. And there we go, self-repairs by the T-70 crew allows them to quickly get the engine functioning again, pulling them out of there before things turn ugly. At the same time, up north, we've got a storm squad. They're catching a country squad out in the open. Mines going down there by the engineers. A lot of action, a lot of head-check action. And there you go, Panzer getting the T-70. There you go, main gun destroyed. We could see another Panzer. There you go, Fritz fires and destroys. T-70 left a burning wreck. Mortar going down here. It could actually get the Maxim there if he's not careful. This Mr. Spender's not careful. There you go, retreats. Realises the house is about to collapse, gets out. Still need to deal with that. One option would actually be to smoke it and then rush it with something else. But he's rather relying on the MG42 with his extended armor pierce around, so perhaps smoke a bit there. Otherwise, if we had flamethrowers, they smoke it, then move them up and burn up. Is it? Oh, concussive grenade on the Maxim. Stormtroopers going to fight up north here. Conscripts taking losses there.
Our lines of supply are disrupted.
Not really winning the engagement. Continues harassment up north from Spander as well. While Findeed is trying to push from the south, but ultimately is pushed back here. Quick grenade there from the Partisans. We're actually up to 4 Partisan squads now. 4 squads. That is quite a bit there. Conscripts leading up to the Stormtroopers still. Quickly retreated. And Partisans just blazing forth. Those stormtroopers are definitely, I think, going to be outgunned and outnumbered here. A lot of fire there flinging against the windows. Getting one partisan there. Grenades being thrown in, and there you go. Quickly hits retreat. Does not want to linger any longer than necessary. And more Grenadiers there for Findeed. Not saying more Panzer Grenadiers to have to deal with the infantry. MD-42. Oh, stolen here by the Partisans. Not good, not good. And straight into a mine, almost losing the entire Stormtrooper squad. Pretty bad news there for Findeed.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Field gun away there for Spander, worried about any armor and vehicles. I mean, certainly now, Findeed could consider building up the support corps and then being to at least get some kind of armor out. But of course, we'll have to see if that is what he actually does. There's a lot of partisans here for Spander. 4 squads, there's roughly 16 partisans, plus he's got now 3 machine guns, plus a mortar. Quite a vicious suite there of weaponry that he can bring to bear against Findeed. Findeed certainly is lagging a bit behind. I mean, he can upgrade his stormtroopers with assault rifles. That should give Findeed a bit more punching power there versus the partisan, but he actually remembers to use tactical advance. That's that, I think, can actually wipe several partisan squads in a matter of moments if he handles things correctly. There you go, quick grenade. Almost got the pioneers there. Stormtroopers with Panzer going to do support heading north southwards there to deal with the partisans. Will they last much longer? As more severe firepower is brought to bear. Rockets to clear out the cover. Mortify continuing in there. Grenadiers about to get overwhelmed. Need to retreat before the part swap. There we go. Findeed pulls off a swift and noble retreat. Parts and mortar almost reached on T2. And there we go, so Palmer co-op for Findeed and the Kampfgruppe Wolf. Once up north being grabbed, no further take up here for Spander or any vehicles. I mean, he could go for a half track, but he could also try and go for T-34s. What's there being grabbed? Grenadiers could try and go for here, but he might be worried there might be mines around here or here, or even here. I mean, there's plenty of mines here. He can actually lay down due to how he's positioned the barbed wire, but the thing is, Spander hasn't. Not there anyway. So in fact, he's got so many partisans, yet he hasn't, I think, used them a lot to lay down any mines. He's been relying on the engineers, despite the fact is partisans can also lay down mines. Panzer Grenadier versus Panzer. Looks like he's going to try and make a stand here. And again, looks like he's waiting for other troops to arrive. Panzer Grenadier falling back. Grenadiers moving forwards. Stormtroopers back at base. Almost switching to one. Pioneers moving ahead. There you go. Panzer getting gunned down there, but slowly they are now outgunned. There we go. Looks like briefly looked like he's going to retreat them, but ultimately Spander continued to start fighting. And there you go. He's going to get the wipe. He's going to get the wipe. Eventually, partisans annihilated there. House collapsed as well. Partisans moving forward, grabbing the fuel point there. Could go for Stuhl, could go for an Ostwind, could go for a Panther 4 soon. He might in fact go for the Panther 4 since there will be one of the more sort of flexible choices, in particular in his fuel situation. He probably wants something that, you know, can sort of handle both infantry and armour flexibly enough, not leaving himself in a bad position. The Meanwhile, Spander is taking up here, going for the Mechanized Armour Company, more explosions, and another Grenadier squad there wiped out. That might actually have been laid down by some Panzers, or could have been engineers. Either way, though, Findeed continues to bleed out, and there we go. We got the Sturmgewehrs on the way for the Stormtroopers, with an encounter maximum pretty shortly after that. Grenadiers with Pioneers supporting Northwoods. Partisans hiding out there.
Supply sector under attack.
There you go. Panzer Grenadier falling back with no support versus the Partisans. Tank Mechanized Armour Company up there for Spander. And more Grenadiers there for Findeed. Got more. No additional Panzer Grenadier or Grenadier. Or, I mean, okay, even Stormtroopers. Mortify, they're almost wiping out the maximum. Good work. Up north. More Tunis halted pretty severely here by the Partisans. Their person's ever nasty. He's still got 3 of them. In theory, he could call up more, but then again, he needs to go for T-34 76 soon, or Katyusha.
Objective taken. Now we just have to keep
Stormtroopers advancing with Sturmgewehr in hand. Is there a mine there?
You have orders?
Nope. Still no mines. Kein Minen. Go slowly advancing. We've got Pioneers from the mines. She was going to do sort of moving in from another angle and from changing the gears. There you go. Parts going to get caught here. And the charging forward. He could go for tactical advantage, but then again, looks like it won't be necessary. Grenade off. Stormtroopers. Mostly dodged except Fritz, who's a bit too fat. Mortar getting eventually 2 there. Partisans taking losses out in the open versus the eventually 2 Panzer going to do. More going to bring down. Storms retreating. Pioneers could advance here. Clear out the mines, grab points. Still no sign of armour there for Findeed. He probably should be getting the Panther 4 to actually intend to get any armour out. I mean, that would really, I think, give him something to work with, since Spander, I think, would be a bit unprepared. He's still got a field gun, but if handled correctly, he can still play around, and just heard Spander everywhere else. We've got a quick rough net against the mortar. Does some nice damage. Retreating the partisan mortar crew. The partisan MG42 is forced to reposition. And constantly taking hits from the German mortar. They've got Natenwerfer, which itself has reached eventually 2 as well. Katyusha halfway done. Come on, Findeed. Go for some Panzers. Go for some Panzers. And there you go. Finally, a Panzerkampfwagen 4 is on the way for Germany. It's a Kampfgruppe Wolf.
Rocket launcher on the field.
3rd Panzer Company of the 10th Panzer Division. Attached to the Kampfgruppe Wolf in an attempt to clear out this area here and make way. Grenadier saying south of the Panzer Grenadier firing away. Panzer 4 halfway done there. Katyusha, those are running here for Spander. Honey's not. Oh, get overwhelmed here by Parsons.
Capturing our supplies.
These retreat stormtroopers that could help deal with things again, in particular using tactical advance at the right time. More stormtroopers running here for Findeed. These will change the stormtroopers up close. Could feed them Veteran D2. And there we go, Veteran D2. Increased lethality. Need him up there to support. And there you go, quick grenade against the stormtroopers. Damages them all. And there you go, Katusha fires a rocket barrage there against the grenadiers over here. Brian Stab. Quick retreat. Stormtrooper hits to move in. Parsons push back here slowly, but still other squad moving up. Stormtroopers finally on the move. And there you go, another grenade through the window. And there you go, Stormtroopers dodge this one, avoiding senseless losses. Panzer IV arrives here to the front line, controlling the pinned by machine gun there to help deal with Russen. Katusha pulling all the way back here as well, going for the point there. Stormtroopers retreating. Panzer IV doing nothing, could try and flank behind some of the Russian elements here. Findeed, though, still very much in the defensive against Spander at the moment. There you go, Panzer IV flanks in. Almost right in front of the field gun now. You know, Jürgen, I have a bad feeling about this position. Perhaps we should make a deeper flank. Either way, though, it does cause collapse there of Spander's assault. South is actually quite open now. Mortar, parts of mortar gaining vets to flee. Pretty nice work. There you go. Panzer will take a bit of hit, push back. And it is time here for the mid-game analysis. In terms of damage, Findeed slightly ahead. In terms of kills, Findeed's ahead. Territory capture, obviously Spander's rather ahead there over his opponent. Army value-wise, Spander's ahead. He's got the issue to the right. We do see slight tinge ahead there for Findeed, ever slight. And resource slope-wise, I mean, his Spander right now floating up there. He needs to be careful about that. Otherwise, it's going to mean Findeed, you know, rather has a chance of really pushing back with the resources he actually has on the field. And points out, it's pretty much, you know, all Soviet across the line here. Findeed's current territorial control is pretty weak here, but he needs to push back. He needs to do so for some, I think, clever maneuvers, trying to flank around some of Spander's elements, wipe them out. For example, get the field gun or the mortar, possibly in the maximum. They could do a lot of damage there, and I think really remove some vital elements of Spander's force so far. That way, pushing things around. More armor for Findeed, I think, will be vital, but perhaps also throwing in a half-track somewhere down the road to help reinforce his troops on the move as well. Otherwise, you know, again, just press out, sort of make some larger pushes, but do have on the units flanking, seeking out easy targets to harass and so on, and keep up the pressure. Otherwise, he does risk basically ultimately getting ground down there by Spander, but he just keeps attacking head on, because that's really where Spander is strongest. He needs to sort of hit them here and there, because Spander's forces are somewhat, you know, lay up. At the same time, some of the elements are a bit, you know, exposed. A good flank, for example, could really hit some of those more exposed elements, which occasionally alter the more important, like, for example, this is 3 field gun. Beyond that, not so much I'll say about Findeed. For Spander, get some T-34s. I would say get some T-34s. He could easily afford 2 or 3 of them in terms of fuel, and that way, you know, build a less large armored force that can that way push back Findeed, pulling off some armor assault for some around here, and begin to hit some of the more other spots there where Findeed is clearly not going to expect it. Could do a lot there to sort of further pressure onto the defense and further concede the map. I mean, right now, Findeed is also very low on victory points, and that's, and Findeed also needs to focus on victory points. And that also means there's another option for Spander to consider, just, you know, really defend them with everything he's got, lay down mines, demo charges, set up machine guns, and again, just a few tanks sort of flank here and there. Something for Spander to also consider would be a half-track of his own to that way, you know, reinforce his defenses, making him much harder to sort of just bleed out that way, meaning he would much more strongly retain a grasp, but he could also use it then sort of quickly shift around troops to sort of, you know, quickly deal with any attacks here and there. For example, if he's not strong enough, or allow him to just maintain a more coherent defense by, say, having a few units here, a few units here, a few units here, but then forming up a reserve with a half-track, a few tanks, that way you can rush here and there to sort of counter whatever threat comes down his way. So that would be an option as well for Spander to consider. But let's return to the fight and see what actually happens here. And he goes for the SU-5. That is also an option, but with the German Panzer on the field. Panzer IV just splits it straight in between the support weapons, hits the mortar directly.
Enemy forces capturing supply
He's probably going to try and push back that maximum as well. Stormtroopers, they're going for that point. And there they go. Parsons in a bad spot. Almost wiped them, mortar wiped them, but they're going before it's opening up there. Saving their comrades. Right here, Panzer IV successfully pushes back the maximum through, almost wiping it. Mortar fires raining down in the German base, actually getting some hits in there. That Veteran 3 mortar crew is quite nasty, does have quite a bit of range. Katusha hanging back, almost ready to fire again. And we got a field gun here as well, the CIS-3 moving about. There was also the CIS-2, which was a 57mm mounted tank gun, but actually had better armor penetration due to having a high velocity on its shells. In fact, there's a T-34 variant that was equipped with a 57mm gun, sort of more specifically meant for tank extraction. Though again, it didn't quite do as much damage, and ultimately was just sort of phased out in favour of the T-3045. But a little fun one there. Issue 5 moving ahead. Grabbing fuel point there, second Stormtrooper squad, no upgrades there as of yet. And German mortar crew there, taking heavy losses from the partisan mortar crew. Quite some nasty chaps, so they rather caught the hang of it pretty quickly. They're going before moving ahead, parts moving up there, straight into the Stormtroopers there. Charging forwards, worried about a grenade. Tactical advance, I think, but oh, too close.
The enemy is taking
Parts pushed back, Panzer 4 getting a pinnacle machine gun, good work, good work. Stormtroopers hanging about there, points being good out there. Engineers, conscious parts moving forwards, they're going to sweep away Findeed's southern forces. And there you go, Katyusha firing from a rather far away distance, there was against some kills. MD4 just been cleared out here by Findeed's brave Soldaten. He could consider capturing in there with the Stormtroopers, then turning against Spander in the south though. He's getting overwhelmed here. Swift counter-attack there by Spander, quickly rolls out Findeed, and there they are marked. Panzer 4 sets out. Need to grab the MD42 though one way or the other. Of course he could rush up at half track to allow him to do so while at the same time not having to retreat. Maxim setting up there and they're going engaging the Grenadiers, getting better into the process. SU5 just hangs about there. At the same time, pretty obviously, so Findeed knows where it is. In fact, he's trying to sort of flank in behind there. He might actually be looking for the Katyusha, but in this case there's nothing there. Otherwise, not a bad idea, just Spander doesn't quite do it the way that Findeed had hoped for. Well, we should have almost brought up some return men. So a nice attempt here by Findeed, just again, bad luck. France attacking here and there, Stormtrooper goes back, abandoning the MD42 to be picked up by the surge again. I think that was a bit of a mistake there for Findeed. Again, he should have just tried to grab it, denying it to the enemy, but ultimately he just gave it back. So there you go, Parton back on the MD42. But he actually managed then to steal a German Maxim. Well, not German Maxim, but a Soviet Maxim. That feels a bit strange, really. Yeah, steals a Maxim, don't buzz with the MD42. Wait, what? Have you been having too much schnapps again, Hauptmann? Maybe. This being suppressed by the Maxim. Pioneers being hit, Grenadiers hanging back as well nearby. Troops reinforcing. I should at least be reinforcing. There you go, Maxim pulling back. House stay in the centre, almost collapsed. Parton falling back. And we got the Panther 4 sending out again with a pin-bump machine gun on top. Grenadiers playing back, they got grenades going off, mortar fire raining down as well. We got the Katyusha all just ready to fire again. And the issue fire ready to respond to any armour going on. There we go. Panther 4 moving in, machine guns firing left and right. Almost got the Maxim there. And there you go, Katyusha fires. Flies all over the place, troops reinforcing. A lot of rockets. A lot of casualties. Medic bunker done as well, that's going to hurt Findeed a bit. Storm's running ahead, they're actually going flick for the spot weapons. Not having to route the HU5, in fact we're seeing Spander's going for a second HU5. He's really worried about here something. He might be, of course, he knows that Findeed has gone for big troops, and he's worried about the Tiger Ace. Otherwise, I can't really see much reason for going for double HD5s right now, and to a certain extent, if he just gone for, say, 2 or 3 T-34s, he's probably going to do a lot more damage to Findeed before Findeed can get out of Tiger Ace in the first place. Either way, though, he's beginning to bleed out here, Mr. Spander, quite severely to Findeed. The assault rifles are doing a bit of an impact there as well. Those Stormtroopers. MD42 looks like, there we go, finally back into German hands. There you go, the charging force. Will there be a tactical advantage? They've got a grenade off. Good thing he didn't go for it, otherwise we could risk very much losing them there. Stormtrooper taking losses, almost 53. Panzer going to deal with the can't support there. And there you go, he can call up the Tiger Ace. Will Findeed actually go for the Tiger Ace, or will just say go for another Panther 4? We'll of course have to see. Otherwise, we do see a larger tank destroyer unit has to be mobilised here by Spander. Again, clearly intent on wrecking fascist panzers. And again, possibly encountering a Tiger Ace. Any kind of Tiger, really.
The sector is at risk.
Parts they eventually defeat, but also cut down by Grenadiers. Interesting enough, also note he's not upgraded any of his Grenadiers with G43s, which actually help him quite a bit. They'll even say a light machine gun there, the LMG-42. Another Panther 4 there on the way for Findeed. H-5s heading southwards, looking for those Panzers. There you go, another Katyusha barrage there off from Spander, hoping to get some more kills. He's just primarily firing into the base, hoping to catch some units. Always a bit of, thing. Couldn't work, but also cannot work. And there you go, Panther caught here, and he's not going to get out there in time. He's too slow, and there you go, H-5s just wrecked the Panzer IV, the double H-5s in this case, quite handsomely paying themselves off by simply through sheer numbers and firepower, just wrecking up Panzer IV before Findeed even had a chance to react there. Very nicely done. They're a bit risky, but overall work there. Panzer's trying to catch up there. Second Panzer IV up at the same time for Findeed. Pioneers nearby. Grenadiers hang about as well. There's still no upgrades for them by the looks of it. No light machine guns, no G43s. Parts about to get annihilated, and then send it back to 4 parts and squad down to 3. Quickly suffering quite a turnover there in his partisan forces. Looks like the Rifle Division is having none of it. Mortar fire, they're landing down the Soviet mortar. 17 kills there, 18. 20 kills on the German mortar. Mortar crew, in fact, again, click one. There you go. Concussive grenade, wiped the entire crew there. Good work. Panther 4 pushes back the partisans. We're seeing that Spander's now suffering extreme high attrition amongst his men. As Findeed's getting some more aggressive and counting back, and eventually the 3 Panzer Grenadiers probably aren't helping. Not Panzer Grenadiers, Stormtroopers aren't helping. I mean, eventually 3 Panzer Grenadiers, but the Panzer Extra, they also do pretty good there. And of course, again, we sort of see here the bit the Asian just going for so many H-5s. All of a sudden, sure, it allows him to deal with the enemy armor quite handily, but the problem is his infantry is now losing the fight there. I mean, the partisans are alright, but they still need something else to work with. They just saw the mainline infantry. The problem with the partisans in that situation is they're not very good in sort of frontline combat. They're flankers, they're harassers, assassins. They're not frontline troops, and I think that's basically the problem here for Spander's tactic. In which case, you'd have been aiming here to finish off the fight as soon as possible, which extent he did. But, again, he should have then gone for T-34s instead of H-5s. H-5s are more preparatory. Again, you're sort of expecting heavy armor to come about there, in particular when you go for 2 of them. Rather, you'd be going for T-34s, just trying to flat the field with them, just crush his opponent beneath the sheer weight of Russian armor. I think that's a slight issue there, perhaps. I mean, he might still win this, meaning his opponent is down to 37 points. So if Spander plays his cards correctly, or if indeed, somewhere along the line really messes up, there's a good chance of Spander still winning this. But if neither of those two things happen, then Findeed, I think, is at this point possibly guaranteed a win. H-5 then flanks the Panzer IV though with its 85mm gun, easily penetrates the Panzer IV's armor. Second shot misses though, moves ahead.
Enemy forces are attempting to capture our
Once they're being
territory.
grabbed. Hard to protect for the Pioneers. Panzer going to do this Stormtrooper moving ahead. Catching the partisan troops out in the open, and there goes shoveling in. Pack 40 setting up. Partisan troop taking out in a loss. There he goes. He's finally upgraded his Grenadiers. I think that was rather late there for Findeed to really upgrade his Grenadiers, to be honest. Either way, though, Panzer getting cut down, and again, we see that the Spartans, once things rather get a bit more serious, they don't just quite cut it as frontline troops. Panzer rolling up support. Down. Well, he's still got 3 parts to score. He just keeps calling up more, and again, at this point, he could actually end up in a bit of a feedback loop of just constant losses because he's quick losing them, then he's replaced them. In that sense, still, parts and squads can very quickly add up, actually. So it's going back territorial aspect on the versus parts, and again, the H-5s really can't do much now. In fact, that's a bit also the issue of the H-5s, a bit like the Jagdpanzer. If you're fighting primarily a lot of infantry, for example, the Jagdpanzer or the H-5 here will be a bit limited utility.
The enemy has killed another infantry squad.
I mean, they rather require, an actual armor presence to really work, and again, versus 1 tank.
The enemy is down to 25
Unless it's a
points.
heavy tank, I really wouldn't bother calling in H-5s here. I mean, he should have gone for T-34s. They're going for the Panther 4 now. In this case, the problem is, though, Panther shakes. Nice smoke screen there by Findeed. The problem is he's not moving his tank, meaning he just needs to attack the ground there. Partisans flanking in. Not anti-tank partisans, you might think here. Oh wait, Panther 4 should 5 down. Trade-off wise, I think the SU5 is actually still cheaper than the Panzer IV. Not by a lot, but it's still cheaper. Party charging straight into the Stormtroopers again. Tactical advance, come on, Findeed, they've got a concussive grenade. Granate, Jürgen. I want them blown to pieces. Almost got the HF5 there, and there you go. 2 Pardon squads annihilated here by the Stormtroopers. 33 kills for Svaziland. Definitely becoming true heroes of the Reich. At least some Iron Crosses there. Possibly even first class. And he's actually driving the HF5 straight through his opponent's base to avoid getting knocked out. They will never see this coming, Yuri. I hope. Otherwise, we're in a lot of trouble. And now he's going for a T-70. Again, for the hard count in the industry, there's never apparently any consideration there for Spander to get a T-34-76. German mortar in the all-time lock there. Parson mortar back on track slowly. But now we can sort of see Findeed is very much in control of the map here. S-Mine's going around to help defense on the points. Interesting enough, not the victory points, but the fuel point. That's a bit of an odd one there for Findeed. And I go pack 40 man to catch H5 again. Might be able to get a wipe there. Another Panther 4 there for Findeed for Germany. H5 escaped successfully. And there you go. T-70 light tank arrives for Spander. Another tank. Cart shattered.
Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
Just like Spander's partisans. T-70 moves up, they're getting some good kills on the Grenadiers. Panther 4 moves up. 24 kills on the Granatenwerfer. MD-42 though is a partner quick grenade. They're the RGD-33.
We need to re-establish our supply lines.
And there you go, MD-42 goes back here parts and T-70. So motor crew pushed back, he's still got an HD-5, he just got very little to repair it with. And overall, right now, Findeed is just in control of most of the map here. He's building up another medic bunker, we got more partisans. Again, appearing at one of the farthest away points to quickly harass here. Should lay down some mines while he can. 17 points left though here for Findeed. It's going to be close, it's going to be close. Going to be very close.
300 points stand between us and defeat.
Mortar sitting up, Katusha moving out, and he's actually laying on a smoke screen here. Or he's attempting to. Seems like something went wrong there. Yuri, what's that you're holding there? It's the mortar. But I'm having the mortar, then what am I holding? My life makes no sense anymore. There you go, catch the Pioneers, they're going to wipe them out. That's the first time I've seen that happen, actually. It's quite clear, it's not a natural mortar there, so something's wrong here. Something is very wrong. Welcome to the Twilight Zone.
The sector is at risk.
Another Katusha barrel, so H5 moves ahead. And we go, eventually 535, Panther down to half health, pop smoke that gets out of there. Panther going to need moving down, H5 almost got it there. Alright, seems like the cursed mortar has become a proper mortar this time around. Now he's trying the smoke screen. In this case it seems a bit strange, a bit late as well, he finally goes for a smoke screen now. That's sometimes happening again in some places when it comes to smoke screen. It's like, you know, when everything is dark, bleak, and you're in the worst situation, then they'll consider laying down a smoke screen. Not before, when, you know, they might actually, you know, have more effect with it, you know, try to avoid some needless losses. 35 kills there, defending the northern victory point. Spander just continues to bleed out here. He's down to such a small force, but he keeps fighting because his opponent's down to 17. He still sees his chance out of this. He still sees victory. Though it is very low. In fact, he's building now. He's building a special rifle command. I mean, he's got the victory points a little bit longer, but problem is also the longer time that goes, the more Findeed can also build up a force now. And of course, the more he can mine, then again, he's not mining any of the victory points. He's mining the fuel points, but not the victory points. Well, he's mining a bit the area towards one of the victory points, but overall, none of the victory points have actually been mined. I'm a bit surprised at that, really. You'd figure that would be the exact thing he'd be mining, considering how low he is, and again, considering there's a chance partisans will appear. I mean, right here, there's two, a house and a small hut where the partisans can appear. But, nope. We must defend the fuel points, otherwise the Führer will be most cross. I think he'll be more cross if we lose arbitrary conditions for victory, which for some reason both us and the enemy have agreed to. Partisans moving ahead, Max moving northwards. And there you go, catches the Katyusha. Oh dear. Do not worry, Sergei, it is safe here. They will not be able to. Oh shit. Boom. It's just down to his a few parts, and then now he's going for a sniper. It seems like Spander's just trying anything now. Betting he's even, praying to different gods this very moment. Oh, please, Almighty Thor, please save a communist in need. Alright, scratch at Thor. Please, Satan, help out a communist in need. No. Alright.
The enemy has taken our supply sector.
Panzer IV tank from the south here. Catching the maximum there with the Partisans PPH-41s. This one getting good hit. Almost 52 actually. Almost. Propagandacaster Panzer IV there. Grenadiers moving up. Panzer Grenadiers. Stormtroopers back there for reinforcement. 35 kills for Deutschland. There's Pro trying to flank in there, catch him with the Panzerfaust. There you go, Panzerfaust in Jürgen, so Panzerfaust. Good.
Enemy forces are attempting to capture our territory.
There you go, Panzerfaust as well. Getting another H-5 there, Mr. Spander. There you go, H-5 is down.
Supply lines have been cut. Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
And with that, I'd say it's pretty much GG here for Spander. There's no way he can win this now. Not unless Findeed suffers a heart attack or is kidnapped. Or somehow, some god or satanic entity strikes him down.
Our HQ is under attack. We have a new Su-85 to deploy.
Israel there after Spander. Panzer takes a nice hit there. Smoke pop. Main gun wrecked. Almost got it actually. But the Panzer IV escapes, but Spander will not win this. Target weak point. Ah. Managed to dodge that one. Petrov hiding away all the way up in the north.
Brave infantry have made the ultimate
And Partisans dead, and there we go with that. Spander's will is broken. GG, game over, bit of a brutal fight here. Spander, I think, played an interesting tactic and strategy overall. The problem was, but just... He probably should have gone with T-34s instead of H-85s here. It was basically sort of a bit too much of a sort of direct difference there. And he needed something to fight, to soak up some of the damage. The T-34s were much better then rather than just constantly relying on the Partisans. Had he done that, he probably would have been a better chance of been able to threaten Findeed much more and be able to sort of close down the gap. Instead, Findeed slowly but surely pushed back, punished the Partisans, wiped them out, and sort of slowly took control of the map here. Findeed could have flanked a bit more, but say a half-check would also help. Though, of course, the half-check would also help Spander. And a few mines around the victory points at certain points might also help Findeed quite a bit there. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. I hope it gives you additional matches. If it did, one, subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. If not, send in replay and provide some feedback in the comment section. This is Imperial Dancing. Cheers. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you all tomorrow for another exciting episode. Cheers.